Okay, welcome to episode 3 of One Log OLL. This week, we're just going to talk about this one set of OLL, which is set 35. It's a big set, it contains 12 algs. However, unlike the other big sets, which have quite tricky recognition and relatively slow algs, this one is actually really nice. It's the equivalent of this L OLL set, right? And basically all the recognition is more or less identical to that set, and a bunch of the algs like this one here are literally just 3x3 transfers. So even though it's a big set, it's a lot easier to learn than you might expect, and it's definitely worth learning. So as always, all of the algs that I show will be listed down in the description, as well as a link to an OLL trainer and a link to my Megaminx algs document, which contains all of the OLL and PLL algs that I use and recommend. So that out of the way, let's get into it. So these are the first 4 cases we're going to cover, which are actually 35D plus and minus and 35E plus and minus. So we're not going to go quite in alphabetical order, because I think this will just make a bit more sense and be a bit easier to learn. Hopefully you agree. But anyway, in terms of recognition, these are the ones that just have this 2-sticker bar like that, and nothing else really. As far as differentiating these goes, these are of course mirrors, the plus and minus cases. So the plus cases have the fat part of the L on the left, and the minus cases have it on the right. And the between the D and E cases, the E cases have these like headlights here, whereas the D cases don't have any headlights. Also, you can see like the D cases have these bars that are next to the fat parts, whereas the E cases have the bars that are like opposite from the fat part. So you can use either one of those. Hopefully one of those makes sense. But anyway, as far as the algs go, this first one, 35D plus, is the alg I showed at the start. So it's just a 3x3 transfer, and it's just from this angle, F double sexy F prime. So super straightforward alg, super straightforward finger tricks. The next two that I'm going to show, which are 35D minus and 35E minus, are actually just transformations of that alg. So the first one, 35E minus, we're going to do the same alg but mirrored to the back. So that's going to look like this. BR prime with our right index like that, and then double back sexy, and then BR with your right ring. So those BR prime and BR moves might feel a bit strange and be a bit slow for you at first, but you're just kind of going to have to practice them, because those finger tricks are super, super useful for Megaminx OLL, and I don't think there's really a decent alternative to just learning those finger tricks, because a lot of the good OLL algs rely on those finger tricks to be fast. And yeah, I don't think you're going to find good algs otherwise. So yeah, done a bit faster. Looks like that. Now this next one, 35E minus, we're going to hold the headlights on the left, and then we're going to do BL prime, and then that first OLL. So F double sexy F prime, and then we're going to finish off with a BL. So it's just a one move setup to that first 35D plus alg. And as far as finger tricking it goes, again, we do that with our middle finger, and then these final 2 moves, I do it with my thumb and my right index like that, which you can kind of do at the same time. So, like that. Now for this last case, 35E plus, this is just a 3x3 transfer, but it's not based on the same alg. So for this case, on 3x3, some people do it R prime U prime double sledge, UR, and that's the alg we're going to use here. So from this angle, R prime U prime double sledge, UR. No fancy finger tricks or anything, just, yeah. Just a nice alg. So next up we have 35C plus and minus and 35F plus and minus. As you can see, these are the cases that have these 3 sticker bars and 2 sticker bars, right? So 1 3-sticker bar, 1 2-sticker bar. Differentiating them is pretty easy. It's just, is this 3-sticker bar opposite from the wide part of the L, or is it adjacent to the wide part of the L? So pretty straightforward. As for algs, these first 2 are just transfers from this case, and it's mirror on 3x3, right? So if we solve it with this algorithm, it's just R moves, F moves, and B moves, we can translate it easily to Megaminx. So for this first case, 35C plus, that looks like this. I'm going to hold the bar on the right and do this algorithm. R prime F, R2 BR prime, R2 prime F prime, R2 BR, R prime. Just like that. And then for 35C minus, it's just the inverse of the case, or also the back mirror. I think it's the same thing in this case, but either way you want to look at it, it's just this algorithm. So bar on the right again, and it looks like this. BR prime, R2 prime F, R2 BR, R2 prime F prime R. Right? Just like that. Now for these two, 35F plus and minus, I guess you could possibly think of them as 3x3 transfers, because some people will use these as OLL Algs on 3x3, but I think most people probably won't know them, so I'll show them to you straight up. They're both with this 3-sticker bar in the back left, and for this first one, 35F plus, it looks like this. F prime, U prime, with your middle finger, F2, then R prime, F prime, R, U prime, R prime, F, R, F prime. So it's just taking this pair out with F moves, then cancelling into a hedge, and then U prime sledge, right? Just like that. And finally for 35F minus, it's basically the same alg as the previous one, just mirrored and rotated, but it works the same exact way. Bar on the back left, and then it looks like this. RU R2 prime, FR F prime, U hedge. So it's just taking this pair out, cancelling into a sledge, and then U hedge. And the only, I guess, special finger trick there is just this push U at the start, like that. But yeah, done a bit faster. Ooh. Done a bit faster, looks like that. And here we have the final 4 cases for today, 35A plus and minus and 35B plus and minus. So as you can see, these are the cases that have this 3-sticker bar and nothing else really, right? 3 stickers, nothing else. And as far as differentiating them goes, it's basically the same as those C and F cases were, right? So the A cases have this bar that's adjacent to the fat part of the L, whereas the B cases have the bar opposite from the fat part of the L. Also the A cases have the set of headlights that's opposite the bar, whereas the B cases don't have the set of headlights, so that works too. Anyway, as for the algorithms, 35A plus here is kind of a 3x3 transfer, so it's the equivalent of this case on 3x3, which we'd solve with double fat zone. However, like I explained in the first episode of Mega OLL, wide moves kind of suck on Megaminx, so we're not going to do it with that exact execution. We're going to just tinker with it a little bit. So what we're going to do is do an X prime and then do it with D, R, and U moves. So we're going to hold the bar in the front, and that looks like this. X prime, D, R, U prime, sexy, R, U prime, R2 prime, D prime. Just like that. Now for the second one, 35A minus, I guess this is kind of a 3x3 transfer, but not really. It's an OLLCP alg, but I guess most people won't know it, so I'll just show it to you straight up. So it's going to be from this angle with the bar on the right, and it looks like this. Hedge, U, R, push U, R prime, U prime, R, then pull U prime, R prime, right? Just like that. Now for the B cases, 35B plus is, I guess, the inverse of 35F minus that I showed before. So it looks like this. We're just going to hold the bar in the front and then do sledge, U prime with our middle finger, then hedge, and then U prime to insert, right? So just like this. Like that. And finally 35B minus. There's, I guess, 2 ways to do it. Both of them are from this angle with the bar on the right. The first way is just doing the inverse of 35A plus that we did before, right, the double zoom thing. So that would be from this angle, and we just do X prime, and then D, R2, U prime, R prime U, R U prime, R prime U, R prime D prime, right? So that's what I personally use as my main algorithm. But I guess what some people will find faster, especially if they're not amazing at D moves, is the RUF algorithm, which looks like this. U2 prime, R2 prime, F prime, U prime, F, right, with our middle finger there, and then R2, U2 prime, R2 prime, U2 prime, R. So we're just taking that pair out, then R prime, F prime, U prime, F, and then inserting this front pair, and then inserting the back pair, right? So I don't personally use that, but try it out, see if it's faster for you. But anyway, that's set 35.